So I got my templates all done. I've hogged out, a good portion of this just to save my router bit. I'm going to use double stick tape. Put this where it needs to go. I'll grab my router, go over to the side of the house, and we're going to clean it out to about 1/4 inch left in the back. Alright, so there's the left chamber. It's about a 1/4 inch and like a 1/16. It's a little more than a 1/4 inch thickness on the back. Looks good. It's getting lighter. Once I get the pick guard, I can really set where this is going to go, so I don't want to hog that out yet. And then make sure my controls are going to fit, and then I can get rid of that. So right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern. We'll see if some secret inscription needs to get written inside of here. I like to leave Easter eggs inside a lot of my guitars, besides, the actual blood and sweat that's in these things. But it could be cool to put something inside of here because it's going to get closed up forever. It's the Tomb of the Pharaohs. Cool. So the guy that I'm building this for asked me to put Psalm 99 inside of here, and so I actually have an old Bible. I pulled the page out. That's so I'm gonna paint, the inside of this chamber black, and then I'll put this down and then clear coat over it so that it's, part of the body. But I don't want to do anything with it right yet because it's so fragile. That verse fits so perfectly in there. So that'll be cool. So I'm getting ready to hog out the tremolo. The way this works is I've got this piece that the trim rides on, and it's going to fit about like that. So this knife edge is going to stick out a little bit. This piece here is actually going to get put in the body a little ways, and then this flat face of the trim is going to sit flush, and then these springs have some space inside of here. Then the arm comes off of there, and there's a cover that's going to cover all this. So I'm going to go ahead and hog out most of this with my drill press, and then use this template right here to clean it up with my router. So let's cut some holes. I want to go down about, this is my depth. So let me get all this set up. So I've got this cut out. Let's see if it's deep enough. I really should take this thing off. You know what? Hold on. There we go. So now this is plenty deep. See, this edge right here is what the bridge, the knife edge sits inside of that, and that's what the trim floats on. So this is plenty deep. So I've got about, I don't know, 1/8 inch clearance for the bottom. So let's take this inside and keep working on it. All right. So again, the way this thing works, this piece is an anchor for these screws which go through this tremolo. So this knife edge is this. So to get my correct depth, that's where I'm going to mount my knife edge. This has to sit so that that edge fits inside of there, which means that the holes are going to end up being this depth. Now that I used my laser and I ran, and so these are where I'm actually going to put some pilot holes here and run a long drill bit that I have and get a straight line, and so we're going to create a hole that goes from here into here to about there. Then what I'm going to do is drill out this and drop this guy in there, and so when we mount the tremolo here, these bolts will carry through these holes and into those locks, and it'll have some wood right here to anchor it. The bridge is going to sit about right there, so this is still really far down on the body, so you got plenty of room, but everything seems to fit. It's all square with the center line, and so I just need to drill these holes out. Then I can mount this, and what I'm going to do is, because the cap on the original was just a veneer, and since I'm using about a 1/4 inch piece of mahogany, I'm going to hog out the underside of the cap so that it fits flush with this, and so the cap will actually have a little square recess, and then the top will fit on top of this, which will put this knife edge on the original. It's about that far from the top. On this one, it's going to be about that far from the top. I mean, it's just the trim. It's the lower the better, so that you get a good break angle onto the bridge. So it's not a big deal. It's just going to be a little different than the original, but not by enough to matter. So far, so good. Man, this guitar is so weird. So I've got it figured out. So I've got the bridge. I haven't installed. I don't know that I even need this. These bolts go to like here, and fortunately I had a drill bit that was very long, that's the exact same diameter as these bolts. So I drilled through. If you get down here, you can see where you can put a screwdriver through here and tighten these screws that hold the tremolo here. This knife edge is going to come, and it fits perfect, and so it'll float on this knife edge. The strings come through here and over the bridge. I don't know that I'm going to need this. It might complicate things. These are really strong. I mean, they're in there. This is tighter than they even need to be to hold, because the tension's going to be pulling this way. And it's counterbalanced really well on this lip, so I don't know. It's going to end up being perfect. I've got the top, the mahogany top, and so you can see how it's going to fit. Hold this down really nicely. So that'll be the top of the guitar. This is going to sit just underneath the surface, just like the original. And then, you know, I'll hog out the iconic sort of pick. There's a pick guard that covers this piece. And so I'm going to wait to get that pick guard before I cut anything like that out. But this bridge is in place, and it is really weird. But it's all centered. You know, I'm glad that there were a lot of different dimensions with this. I had to get the right height, the right level. It's pretty crazy. But hopefully, I mean, not hopefully, this guitar is going to be really cool. I'm very excited to finish it. So I might get to painting these, and I haven't decided. I'm going to make some plugs to put right here so you won't see these holes, but then again, you might need to access them to get to this, and so I haven't decided what I'm going to do here. There's a guy that builds these, and this is the way he builds them, and I think he just leaves them open so that you can get, you know, a screwdriver through there to take these out if you need to. I bet there's a plug, or it's 3/16, so I can make plugs out of these dowels that I have. I was thinking about taking a red oak dowel, which is pretty similar in grain, and making it the right size to plug these up. So if you wanted to fool with this, you'd have to pop them out. I don't know. Think about it. Very cool.